Hey. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 35th Annual Vancouver International Film Festival and our screening of 10 years. Make noise if you want to. You don't have to be hesitant about making noise in front of me. I'm not that easily offended, okay? Let's begin by thanking everyone that makes it possible for us to bring these great films and filmmakers to Vancouver, including our major supporters, TELUS, Telefilm, and Creative BC. And a big thank you as well to the more than 1,000 volunteers without whom we cannot have this festival. We would also like to extend special thanks to this screening's sponsor, and Fairchild Television and Television. This film is part of the Dragons and Tigers series sponsored by the Fairchild Media Group. New this year, be sure to check out our Film Plus at the VIFF Hub for creator talks and late-night local music and film collaborations. The full lineup can be seen on viff.org. Immediately following the film, please participate in this year's Super Channel's People's Choice Award. Vote by tearing the ballot across your rating, with 5 being the highest. And as you exit the theater, deposit it. Let me rewind. By tearing the ballot across your rating, with 5 being the highest, and as you exit the theater, deposit your vote into one of the boxes held by a helpful volunteer. Okay, please note that we have added additional screenings of several films. One, A Man Called Ove. Another screening of Red Turtle. There is another screening of this film, 10 Years. And so you'll be able to tell your friends about it and they'll be able to come and see it. We also have an additional screening of Hello Destroyer at Van City Theatre on Wednesday, October 12th at 8:30 p.m. So keep your eyes on the pink sheets located at the information tables in the lobby for further updates and added screenings. Okie doke, please turn off your cell phones now. And I'd like to introduce someone who will herself introduce our attending guest this evening. Please welcome Senior Programmer for Vancouver International Film Festival, Po Chu Aoyong.
Good evening. Good evening and welcome to the Canadian premiere of 10 Years, Sublin. The film is an omnibus film made up of 5 short films. And I will let our guests announce to you the individual directors. And some of you probably have read about this film. It was released in Hong Kong in last December. And it became a huge success, which is a surprise to many people. And it ran for 8 weeks at the cinema in Hong Kong. And then in spring this year, in April this year, the film won the Best Film Award at the Hong Kong Film Award. And we're very pleased, to have the Canadian premiere and also to have the executive producer for the film, Andrew Choi Lee Ming. And please join me in giving Andrew a warm welcome.
Hi everyone. Hi everyone, I'm Andrew, the executive producer of 10 Years. Thank you for the introduction. There's 5 young directors who did the 5 stories. Kwok Chun, who's the first story. Wong Fei Pang, who's the second story. Auman Git, the first story. Zhao Kun Hui, the 4th story. And the 5th story is done by Ga Leung, who's also the co-producer. They are all in their 20s and 30s, young directors. So you will see a perspective in their views, the future of Hong Kong. So I hope you like the film, and I'll come back after the screening for some Q&A section. Thank you.
And if you want to recommend the film to your friends, we have another screening, a matinee screening on Wednesday. And then we have an additional screening. It's not in the schedule. We just added it because of the popular demand on Wednesday, October 12th. So there's a matinee screening, which is Monday, which is on the schedule. And then we have an added screening on Wednesday evening at the Playhouse here. So hope you enjoy the film, and Andrew will be back for Q&A. Thank you.
Before we start our Q&A, I just want to remind everyone that there's additional screenings this Monday, matinee at 4:15 at the International Village, and the newly added screening this Wednesday, right here at the Playhouse at 9:15 as well. Those are readily available online, so tell all your friends and family members as well, and support the film festival and great film. But you're not here to listen to me. I'm going to welcome the executive producer of the film again, Andrew Choi, out. Welcome, Andrew. So aside from being the executive producer, I noticed that there was a little part in the third segment. I think it was some Mandarin-speaking taxi driver. I think it was an actor.
I'm the bad guy. Yeah, if you don't recognize me, yeah. It's a low-budget film, so the executive producer has to be part of it. Yeah.
See, it wasn't my eyes who was deceiving me. So I think a lot of people are very interested in hearing about how this project got started. Was it part of the Yellow Umbrella movement, or was it something that, there was 5 great young independent filmmakers. So perhaps you can shed some light on that.
The project actually begins the end of 2013, so actually way before the Umbrella movement. Back then, me and my co-producer, Ka Leung, who's also the director of Local Egg, we just finished a documentary back then, and we were planning our new project. And based on that time, we can kind of foresee that Hong Kong is facing some changes in terms of social and political. So we want to ask a question: what's next for Hong Kong? So we have this question in mind, and then we start to develop our story and basically our theme of the project. Time frame that is related to all of us. And basically, we give them a lot of freedom to create their script and do the production. But actually, during our pre-production, it was the Umbrella movement took part in 2014, and I think that social movement actually kind of affect the direction. And as you can see, I guess you can kind of feel it's very heavy and even kind of pessimistic. You can feel the whole tone of the movie. It's definitely because of the Umbrella movement. And then we released the film 1 year after the Umbrella movement, and it did arouse a lot of people's interest, especially when we launched it in December, and then January this year, there's the Causeway Bay bookstore incident happened in Hong Kong, and I think people are kind of pay more attention to our film because we are actually kind of saying something that is already happening in Hong Kong at that moment. So yeah, that's the story behind why we want to start the movie, and we just want to do a movie that is about the future of Hong Kong, and we want to be honest, we want to be true to what we believe and what we've seen over the past few years in Hong Kong, and we did the story. Yeah.
Great. Was there any thought of making this into one feature film initially, or was it intentionally to have 5 stories told?
Well, initially we did think about doing a one feature film, but because we only have very limited budget, the budget is 500,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is less than 10,000 Canadian dollars. And so we know we couldn't make it the feature film. That's why we did a 5 story Because low budget, you can do a short film, and the directors basically did it maybe for free, or even they put some of their own money into the film. So and so we never imagined it will become such a huge success. Yeah.
Wow. And congratulations on your Hong Kong Film Award, especially on such a small budget. I think it's a huge testament to the young talent that's available in Hong Kong right now. I think film awards traditionally go to quite grand scale films, and I think many people think of film, and from Hong Kong they think of Jackie Chan and all the kung fu movies, and it's very rare that we see so many young voices doing independent film. Is this something of a trend that's coming out of Hong Kong, or how are they, is it because of the political climate, or?
Well, over the past 10 years, when we talk about Hong Kong film, back in the 80s or 90s, you talk about Jackie Chan, but over the past 10 years, basically, a lot of films are actually co-production with the mainland Chinese movie studio. The budget is bigger and the market is bigger, but those are for movies for the mainland China people. Even they release it in Hong Kong, people in Hong Kong kind of know those kind of movies are not for them. And I think over the last 2 or 3 years, there's more movies coming out, especially target for the local Hong Kong market. And even it's a lower budget, but people are paying more interest in those kind of film. 10 years is one of the example. As you can see, it's definitely, you cannot go to China with this kind of movie. But we still did very good in Hong Kong. We did $6 million Hong Kong box office. Which is over 10 times our budget. So I think it's just, I always say this, it's because this movie happened at the right time, at the right moment, during a time of chaos, uncertain about the future in Hong Kong, especially recent changes in Hong Kong and the influence of the mainland Chinese government. So I guess it aroused a lot of echoes among the Hong Kong people, and even the Hong Kong Film Award voted for us. So we really surprised, but we are honored to receive such an award. And I do think there's more future for independent film like this and different genre film coming up in Hong Kong. And hopefully we can see a new series of young directors coming up in Hong Kong. Yeah.
We certainly hope so. And with such a small budget, I'm just wondering, for the last segment, local eggs, I sort of see a very famous TVB actor. Yeah. Is it Liu Kaiji? I'm just wondering, how did you manage to get him involved in the project?
Well, we have some connection with him, and of course he basically he charges very low fees. If he charges a normal fee, we won't able to get him in. After he read the script and he basically said, "Oh, I'm interested to do it. It's very meaningful," and then he just agreed to do it. And we shoot it in 2 days, so it's a very low budget, and his time is okay. So we're thankful for him. So yeah, we're glad that he could take part in that.
And also, I mean, there were so many references regarding the bookstore and the Causeway Bay situation. Was this resulting from that, or did this come kind of an evolution before that happened, or was it something that you want to kind of say? To me, it feels like we're going backwards in time. It's like during the World Wars where you kind of had to hide what you had, your self-expression, etc. So I thought it was kind of interesting.
Well, people in Hong Kong said that 10 years is actually kind of predicting what is happening in Hong Kong in the past few months after we released the film. We are definitely not a prophet or anything, but I think during our research for the script and for the stories, we did take a look at the history, especially those countries under tight controls. And you'll see a pattern. For example, something is banned. If we say local in Hong Kong, recently local or indigenous has become a very sensitive issue in Hong Kong. That's become true. And of course, the Mongkok incident, a lot of people think it's a conspiracy, and then the first film, Extra, kind of touched on that as well. So I think we didn't predict the future, but when we look back, history kind of repeats itself. And I think that's what's happening in Hong Kong under a tighter control in all sorts of area, in terms of your freedom of speech, in terms of press, and I think that's the things happening in Hong Kong. So, and I think our directors are just observe what they've seen over the past couple of years in Hong Kong. And after the umbrella movement, they see this kind of thing happening in Hong Kong. So they just so basically we're just filmmakers telling a story that we want to say, and we want to be honest to ourselves. And a lot of people say that we are very courageous doing this film. I don't think so. I think we are just doing what we are only know to do. Is making film. Yeah.
Right. So obviously, we enjoy a lot of freedoms here, and this, I think, is just an expression of that type of freedom in Canada. But in Hong Kong, I guess it's obviously a very sensitive issue. Do you and your crew feel that their safety might be jeopardized? Would you suddenly get an invitation to be invited for tea for 80 days and kind of disappear on vacation for a little while?
Well, not yet. Hong Kong is still a free country, so to speak. But our crew won't go back to China anytime soon. we don't want to try. Actually, a lot of people ask us, "Are you guys afraid of your future? Did anyone contact you?" No, I think nobody did follow us or tap our phone. No, that's not happening. But for the future, I think it's going to be difficult. But for all 5 young directors, I think they never regret doing this movie, and because there's something that they really believe they want to say. And I think we're going to continue to create movies fearlessly, without any fear because that it's going to be dangerous saying these kind of things. I think it's important at this moment of time. We are not sure if our next movie can make it to the cinema. We are not sure because 10 years was doing very great in the cinema in Hong Kong for 8 weeks. Basically, it was selling out all the tickets, but the cinema won't continue to show our film for some reason. Of course, they won't tell us what's the reason, but we know what's the reason. So I guess it's going to be difficult times, but I think at the end you can see there's a message that we send out. We ask the audience, is it too late or is it never too late? I think all the 5 directors believe it's not too late, or else we won't do the film. And I think there's still hope in the Hong Kong and in the future of Hong Kong, especially in the younger generation, especially if we can do something today to keep hold to what we believe is important values to Hong Kong. And I think that's something we really want to do and continue to do the things that we believe in. Yeah.
Right. Definitely. So now I'd like to open up the floor to see if anyone else has any questions. Complete silence. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead. Just you can stand up and speak up. So the question is, what can we do to help, whether we're expat Hong Kongers or not?
Well, it's difficult to say. Sometimes, when we get too close and then we are saying, oh, you guys are connecting foreign powers but I think in Canada, and especially in Vancouver, there's a huge amount of immigrants from Hong Kong. And I think you guys are preserving some of the important values in Hong Kong. For example, hopefully some people are still speaking Cantonese. Maybe one day we won't speak Cantonese in Hong Kong. We're not sure. But I think you can preserve some of the important cultural and some of the values that is from Hong Kong. And of course, I know all of you pay very close attention to the news in Hong Kong, to the current issues in Hong Kong, that do continue to support us in different ways. And I'm sure there's something that you can do. Supporting a movie like this to help. And also, yeah, do continue just pay more attention to what's happening in Hong Kong and not afraid to voice out some important issues. I think a lot of people are concerned about the future of Hong Kong, and I'm sure people like you guys are concerned in the future of Hong Kong, or else you won't come to see this movie. So that's important. That I think paying more attention to what's happening in Hong Kong is especially important. So hopefully, you will support us, even though it's going to be a difficult road in front of us. Yeah, thank you.
Do you have another question? Oh, please.
Okay. Yeah.
He wanted an explanation about the second story.
I know this will be coming. Basically, this question comes up in all of our Q&A. It's a story that you don't need to understand that much. Okay. The director kind of wants you to feel what he's trying to describe in his movie. There's two persons in the movie doing some preserved things, doing some specimens, and I think at the end you can see one of the main characters, the male character, kind of said that I think he's somehow lost his focus. Is he going to continue to do things to continue to do the specimen things? And when he shared to his partner, saying that, can you help me to do my own specimen? And it's for me, I think it's a very depressing suggestion that it's only ending his life can he become a specimen. So it's basically talking about the preservation of things in Hong Kong, which is an important issue of Hong Kong, but it also kind of brings some of the more pessimistic message, I think, in this movie from a young director. The second movie director, Wong Fei Pang, is the youngest. He's only 25 years old. He's been involved in some of the social movement in Hong Kong, and I think this movie kind of expressed his view in the social movement. He's more pessimistic. And so at the end, the female character did help the male character to make him into a specimen. And of course, at the end, she herself also cut her hair, meaning she will also become she will do her specimen by herself as well. So I think it's overall, you just feel that after you see the movie, if I ask you, how do you feel about the movie? What's your feeling? If you're saying, I'm very depressed, it's very intense, I think this is kind of the emotion that the director wants you to take away. So a lot of things that you won't understand. Why they always go and take a walk, what's the numbering. I don't think that's the most important thing. So yeah, a lot of people don't understand. I think the director kind of wanted to see something as an experiment to this film. And a lot of people did comment that is, compared to the other four, it's very different. Yes, it's different, but I think it's okay because we have 5 different stories. So hopefully, and someone really like it. And so hopefully after I give you some little bit explanation, you will understand a little bit more about the feeling after you see the movie. Yeah.
Great. Next question. Okay. The question is, how will the film be distributed?
Well, you can see it next Wednesday again. And we are releasing the DVD in Hong Kong, and I think you can order it in Hong Kong, and then it will ship to Canada. And I think we're releasing it in iTunes and Google Play as well. and in I think in 21st of October. So and hopefully you can get a hold. I think there's we also going to publish a book, but it's in Chinese. Kind of capture what's been through in terms of the process that this happening this past year, and we interviewed different people, and we invited five young writers to write 5 short stories as a continuation of the 5 stories. So it will be a important record for what's happening. So it's going to be a bundle version for the DVD and Blu-ray. So hopefully, someone in Vancouver can get it. I'm sure if you can still get DVDs here, but in Hong Kong you can go to hmv.com.hk to order it. Yeah.
That's great. And I understand this is probably the last stop of the tour, right, for the Canadian premiere for one thing. There may be additional stops, but I think we're very fortunate to have the Canadian premiere here. And I think we have time for one more question. So make it good. And I see someone in the middle there.
Curious to know if any of the directors actually talk to any government authorities from the British government, the China government, and the Hong Kong government.
You mean after the movie?
Or before or during when
No. I don't think they talked to the British government people or the mainland Chinese government. Well, I was contacted by one of the government official, but after we won the award. But basically, it's very friendly, kind of, drink a coffee, and it's nothing political. And so I accept the invitation, and I chat with him about different things. So I think that's okay, hopefully. But there's nothing about giving us any pressure kind of thing. So I don't think, but they did a lot of research, as you can see in the film. And especially in Self-Immolator, some of the things that it was said in the film was actually kind of also discussing by the different political parties in Hong Kong. So it's kind of things happening, but I think when you see it in movies, it's kind of saying, "Oh, is it real?" Some people think it's a real documentary, but no, it's a mockumentary. But I think it's very real in some sense. Yeah.
Great. I think that's all the time we have for the official Q&A, but Andrew will be actually outside in the lobby, continue any private conversations that you might have or additional questions that weren't afforded on the stage here. So I want to welcome and thank you for coming all the way, Andrew.
Thank you for all your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much.